The Department of Defense announced last week that it's moving up their timeline to defuel Red Hill by 6 months. The big question, can it be done in a safe manner, and how can trust be restored within the community? Joining us this morning is Commander Nico Melendez, spokesperson for the Joint Task Force Red Hill. Good morning, Commander. Thanks for joining us this morning.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
Now, first off, 6 months ahead of schedule. How did this happen?
It's a great question. We worked diligently with our regulators, the Department of Health and the EPA, through an iterative process to identify efficiencies that would allow us to identify ways that we can do this. We had to go through a project scheduling workload to identify, okay, if we need to do this then when do we need to do this? And going through everything that needs to be done between now and the time we want to start defueling, we were able to identify ways that we could cut the timeline, start the gravity defueling process based on conditions in mid-October.
Now, we're talking about 100 million gallons needs to be defueled. How do you assure the public that this can be done safely?
We're having an open house tonight so we can explain the process of defueling to the public. There are a lot of elements at play here between the work that we need to do, the training that we need to do, the drills that we need to do, and the work with the regulatory agencies, with the Department of Health and the EPA. So we want to have a communication, we want to have a dialogue, we want to listen. The only way we can do this is let our actions speak for us. The public, the only way we're going to rebuild trust is through demonstrating competence, professionalism, and an acute ability to be able to get this job done. And we think we're up for the task.
Now, can you explain maybe in layman's terms how this defueling process will work, especially that residual amount, some 400 gallons that will be at the bottom of the tanks?
Sure. There's going to be a process. It's going to be gravity defueling that we're responsible for. And what we're going to do is we're going to drain the first 90% of the tanks through gravity down to the pier to load it onto tankers. And then there's what's called flowable tank bottoms, which is the last 10 feet of the tank. And that will be done through a drain in the pipe. A drain in the tank, excuse me. And then the residual fuel, which is estimated to be about 100 to 400,000 gallons of fuel, that will be done during the closure process. But what we try to explain it in layman's terms. So if you're baking cookies with your kids at home and you put vegetable oil in the measuring cup and you pour it in the mixing bowl, you still have remnants of oil in that measuring cup. So that's what we're talking about. When we're talking about huge tanks and massive amounts of fuel, it all adds up to between 100 and 400,000 gallons. But that will be addressed by the Department of Defense in a future supplement. It will be addressed, taken care of during the closure process.
And talk about restoring public trust and rebuilding that process with the community.
Yeah, again, it's about communication. It's about dialogue. It's about us demonstrating competence and an ability to do this job. By having a communication, by meeting with legislative leaders, by meeting with community leaders, by meeting with members of the public and listening and having that dialogue, we think we're going to get to where we need to be to rebuild trust, because it is a process and it's something that we're taking very seriously. And by coming on shows like this and having a conversation, we're going to get there.
What's been the message and the conversations been like with legislatures, the governor, and so forth?
They have been supportive. They appreciate the open communication, the dialogue that we're able to have, the fact that they're able to have a text message conversation with our leadership or meet with us regularly. It has been supportive, and they recognize the work that we have to do, the massive amounts of fuel that need to be moved. And as long as we keep them apprised and we keep the regulators apprised and work with them to identify how we're going to do this and how we're going to do it right to protect the people and the environment, working together, we're going to get this work done.
And talk about the one open house tonight, but you also have one tomorrow night as well. Just talk about the details of the open house and who can attend.
Sure, it's important for us to, again, meet with and talk with the community. So we're having a defueling open house tonight from 4 to 7, and again tomorrow from 4 to 7 to explain the defueling process, because while the repairs are almost complete, we have 220 of the 253 repairs done. There's a lot more that goes into defueling, from the quality assurance, quality validation, the sign-off from DOH, tank tightness testing, repacking of lines, the spill drills. There's a lot that we need to do, and these open houses are designed to explain to the public what it is that goes into defueling, how we're going to do it, and listen to concerns, or if they have ideas, maybe they could bring those to us.
Who will be in attendance tonight?
Tonight, we're going to have each of the directorate leads for the Joint Task Force, from response to quality assurance and training and planning and operations. The commander of the Joint Task Force, Vice Admiral Wade, will be there. Media are invited to attend tonight. Those are the people that are going to be there explaining the process that we have, and the public is welcome.
All right, there you have it, Commander Nico Melendez. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. And of course, we have all that information on the 2 open houses tonight as well as tomorrow on our website at KHON2.com. Thank you very much, Commander.
Thank you for having me.